excited to have my broker GR Myers on. And I have convinced him to come on every week with me to share his wisdom and his knowledge with business ownership, right? Real estate investing and whatever questions people might have. But this week, what we're going to do is, so I don't want to embarrass you here, GR, because I do feel like, I wanted to convince him because I do feel like that you have a power to influence and you have wisdom to share. So I am kind of excited that you're doing this with me, right? I got a lot. I've shared this out into a group with people who want to be investors. Great. And other realtors who want to work with investors. So, we're going to combine that with financial coaching. Sure. But one of the reasons we're going live today is actually to share with everyone that we're going to do an in-person 12-week session once a month, right? The first Tuesday of every month at Myers Realty, sharing, financial tips and real estate investing and business growth, and what things that we each personally, individually need to get to that place where we can create, right, sustainable, profitable, lowest risk possible, maybe rental portfolio, right? And kind of create the life that we improve our quality of life and the life that we want for our families. Yep. So one of the things that we're going to do is go over a book. So this is interesting to me because Jim Rohn is actually one of my go-to persons. I don't think you knew that, and I didn't know that he was one of your favorites. Mm-hmm. And you have a book that you're going to go over during that session. You want to tell us a little bit about that book and how we're going to do that in 12 weeks? Mm-hmm.
Sure. So when I was a young fella just out of college, I met a gentleman I consider to be my first real mentor. Mm-hmm. And he introduced me to Jim Rohn and this book, 12 Pillars. Yes. And so it was one of the first books I ever read, because I pretty much got through high school and college without reading very much, but as probably most people did. But this is one of the first books I ever read, and it really had a huge influence on me. It really changed my mindset and my thought process and allowed me to start to think different than most people in my family, which I'm assuming the people in my family are probably a lot like the people in your family. Yeah. We're good people, but just haven't had a lot of success financially, don't know much about investing, and you can only share what you know, so they just couldn't share much with me. So I had to look in other places, and my friend Brian and Jim Rohn became two of my very first mentors in business and investing.
So I have a book called Leaders Are Readers, and that's one of the things for myself also, right? I learned the difference between personal development and spiritual awareness, but what I realized was authors became my best friends. So Jim Rohn was actually very, very influential, and he spoke at a lot of conferences that I went to. So he was actually very influential. But so next week, so that book that you're talking about, what's the name of the book? Because even if we're going to go, so we want people in our area, Dover, Delaware, 12 Pillars, and who's the author?
Jim Rohn.
Oh, Jim Rohn wrote the book. Okay, well,
yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's by Jim Rohn and Chris Widener, who unfortunately, Mr. Rohn has passed away. Right. But Chris is still an author and a speaker, and I had a chance to hear him speak live a few years ago, which was great too. Yep.
So really, we want to encourage people to pick up that book so they can journey along with us, right? Especially if they're interested in real estate investing. Absolutely. And also for any realtors who may want to invest themselves or work with investors or help people in our community understand the importance of home ownership and how that can position you better financially.
Right.
Right? Okay. And so that one has 12 pillars. So every week in our in-person sessions, the first Tuesday of every month, right, starting at 7:00 and ending at 9:30, is you're going to go over each pillar. So what's the first pillar that we're going to go over next week?
So the first one is actually personal development. So one of the things I learned early on is that my success in anything is going to be directly related to how much I've developed as a person. And so we're going to talk about personal development, and we're going to talk a little bit about philosophy, which is interesting because Jim Rohn has a unique philosophy that set him from a lot of my previous formal education teachers, right? So Jim Rohn to me is a mentor and a teacher. I had a lot of teachers through high school and college, but none of them were able to communicate with me the way that Jim Rohn did uh,
Yeah.
through his book. And just to side note, although I wasn't much of a reader through school, after school, I became a pretty avid reader, and I've read several hundred books. And I'm a big fan of audiobooks now. So I'm a big fan of Audible. That's one of my favorite pastimes, is to just listen to a book while I'm driving in the car. So as I'm riding around, I'm constantly looking for books that can help me learn and grow, and maybe add to my philosophy of life and business and success.
Okay, so the first pillar we're going to talk about is personal development, right?
Yeah, we're
So,
talking about.
yes, and then I also actually want to move into power of association,
Mhm.
because to me, one of the reasons, I think you and I have the same heart in this. We really want to see people improve their quality of life. Like, we really want to see people, and we don't believe. I was telling you that I'm creating a course, right, on real estate investing. And one of the things I hear every single time I start to do something, I hear, oh, that's saturated. But we got a discussion about that,
Mhm.
how, like, because we believe in abundance, right? And we don't believe, I think I asked you, GR, what do you think about a market being saturated? Do you mind just sharing what your answer was to me there?
Sure. I mean, when you and I were talking about that, I think finding an excuse not to do something is very easy.
Yeah.
And most human beings look for the easy way, or they look for an excuse. And that excuses them from having to do anything extra, having to learn anything more, having to develop any more skills. But the truth is, for those of us who want a better life and who want to be successful, want to grow, want to learn, there's always going to be opportunity. And the truth is, since we live in
Yes.
a world of abundance,
Yeah.
nothing's ever really saturated, or even without nothing's outside of our reach.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so there's always going to be an opportunity there for those of us who are seeking opportunity. But there's an old quote that says something like, most of the time opportunity is disguised as work, and that's why most people avoid it. So
Yeah.
you're going to have to put in a little bit of work and educate yourself and learn and put in the time to make a change in your life. And if you're not willing to do that, then it's okay. You can just keep doing what you're doing, but nothing's going to change until you're willing to change.
I actually want to talk about that a little bit, since the first pillar
Yeah.
we're going to talk about is personal development.
Right.
And I also want other people to know we're going to share a strategy on how to get to $100,000 a year passive income by building a profitable, sustainable rental portfolio. So anybody in our community who's really, interested in that, really, they kind of want to be in the room, right?
Sure.
But I kind of want to speak to that, because I always think about, like, what's the work, and what I realized is one of the work that nobody really wants to do is to develop and to learn what you need to learn, right? To say, oftentimes when I'm going live, I say, why not you and why not now? But I'm not asking the question. I mean, I actually really want people to answer the question. So if the question is, not me because I don't have enough money, then you have to grow your bank account. Not me because I don't have the skill set, then you have to improve your skills, right? Like, whatever it is that's stopping you, that's the work that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That we're not talking about physical work, because sometimes when people hear this, they could be thinking, well, I work hard, but that's not the work we're talking about. We're talking about the work of being a good student and learning what you need to know that you don't know. And
Yeah. We're talking about developing your philosophy, because the hardest working people in the world are some of the lowest paid. I mean, the
yes,
people who are out there digging ditches, the people who are out there, laying the roads and putting on roofs. I mean, thank God for them, because I don't
yes,
want to get on a roof,
right,
but they're not getting paid very well because they have a limited skill set.
right,
So with a limited skill set, the market that's, the economy that we live in, it's going to limit you to how much you can earn, and we're
right,
talking about developing passive income,
right.
acquiring assets that produce a monthly revenue stream, which is going to help you at some point get to a point where, you're financially free. And
So
that's
I want
different for different people.
Right. I want to speak to that also because when we talk about work, you could be a roofer and you could be a server and you could
Sure.
have those skills. But what we're saying is that those skills are limited with
Yes.
that caps you off at a certain income because you're trading time for dollars. So it
Yes.
doesn't matter what you're doing for work. You have to do something else to develop passive income
Yes. And
for your.
don't misunderstand me. I've done roofs.
Yes.
I've worked in a kitchen and I've
Yeah.
waited tables. So that's all honorable work. But
Yes.
none of that was going to help me achieve a financial freedom that I desired.
Yeah. And I
So I
wanted to
had to continue to develop from those skills. Those are wonderful skills. And I learned in each one of those jobs what I like and what I don't like.
yes.
And my first job was construction. I mean, that's what I started out doing at 16 years old, was working for a construction company. So,
Right.
which laid a great foundation since I like to invest in real estate. I'm very comfortable walking into a house that needs rehab and knowing what needs to be done. So, that was part of my growth and development. Just I
Yeah.
didn't want it to stop there, right? I didn't want to put a
Right.
lid on it there. I wanted to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow.
Right. So I wanted to
Hold on.
clear that up because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who work hard, but I want to make sure they understand that the work that we're talking about is it actually is a shifting of your mindset and being able to see money differently.
Yeah.
Know that you can do it because really anybody and that's why these sessions that we're going to have in person, I think are super important because again, I want to touch a little bit on the power of association because we started 15 minutes late. We're going to be 15 minutes short on time. Right? Because you got someplace you got to get to. But last year I started saying monkey see, monkey do, monkey see, monkey be. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a really good example I can use of that right now, which is my daughter started really getting into exercising. So my 4-year-old grandson who sees this, he witnesses it. He says to me, Grandma, he started turning on YouTube videos and started exercising, right? Because he sees his mom doing it. So
Sure.
what we're doing is we're inviting people, and honestly, GR, I'm having my daughter bring my 12-year-old grandson because I know 30-year-olds. I know 30-year-olds who their net worth is pretty significant for one reason. Because I always ask everyone, how did you do this? How did you have the courage to do this? And to them, it wasn't having courage because they saw it. Right? They saw their father, they saw their uncle, so they were exposed to it. So they didn't even question whether they could do it, right? They just started saving their money and they just started investing. So what we're doing is we're giving people who feel like they don't have opportunity an opportunity to get into the room.
Right.
To be around somebody so that you can see people are doing it. You can ask people questions. I mean, it's a limited time, but it's free. Right? Because everything I do isn't free.
Do you want
me
to share the portfolio I've put together? Do you want me to share anything about that?
You can. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I think that would be a good idea to share. I mean, if you want to share a story or something, that would be great.
Yeah, well, we only have a few minutes left, but I bought my first property at 24 years old, and I had seen my dad buy property. And so, like you said, we kind of see what our family's doing. And I had seen my dad buy some rentals. I thought, well, that sounds like that's a good investment. So I bought my first property at 24. And then I kind of didn't, I lived, with that property for a little while. And then eventually I thought, this is something I want to pursue. And probably around the age of around the age of 29 or so, I bought my second property. So I kind of got a late start, to be honest with you.
Right.
And then I bought a third property, probably around the age of 30. And then I decided to go ahead and get my real estate license around 32. You don't have to get a real estate license, but I always had an interest in it. So I did. And from that point, because I was kind of immersed in that environment, I kept finding what I consider to be good investments and good opportunities. And I, over the past, 20 years, I put together a portfolio of 36 rental properties that include one is a 3-unit property. So 38 doors is what I have, which is a great portfolio that I'm very satisfied with. Now, some people might be happy with 10, and some people might be happy with 20, and some people might not be happy until they get 100. And I met one guy who had 1,500 rentals. rental
Right.
units. So I mean, there's no right or wrong number as to how many you need to have or want to have. It really depends on your personal goals. And some people could be financially free at $40,000 a year. And some people have to be at, $200,000 a year to be financially free. It's really a personal decision that you have to make.
So I actually want to speak to that because I was telling you about the investor that I met. So I have a client who has been investing for 10 years. And because you said you started late, but I don't want people to think I have clients who started in their 50s.
Right.
Okay. I have clients who are in their 30s who but I have clients who started in their 50s, but like their net worth is a little over 2 million. Their passive income is like 120,000 a year, right? They've been doing it for 10 years, but I met another investor who's been investing for 10 years. And when I asked him, how much passive income do you have? He said 0. So really, he said 0 because his investing portfolio had to do with flipping and, doing things like that. So really a focus for us is to help people get to passive income. Right, that passive income for somebody might be 40,000, that might be 100,000, but to let people know who are interested, who've always had a desire to do it, that they can do it, especially for people who are local to us.
Right.
Right. But for anybody who's not local to us, that's why I'm creating the course for those people in this group that I created who are not local to us. But but for anybody who's local to us, but even if they're not, we're going to go live every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. And share different things, right? And so, but if you are local, you can come. We have an Eventbrite link created, and you can come to Myers Realty next Tuesday, 7 p.m., the first Tuesday of every month.
We're not going to start probably till 7:30, but the doors will be open at 7.
The doors open at 7, right?
So we're doing mingle and get to know everybody.
Yes, so we're starting at 7:30 to 9, but the doors are open from 7 to 9:30. Is what we're going to do. Okay. And then we're going to talk about, we're going to share a strategy on getting to $100,000 a year passive income. We're going to do the 12 pillars in the book that Jim Rohn, authored. What was that? Wasn't there something else that we've got actually a whole schedule of events, and I didn't pick our two, but it's cool. And for anybody, we're going to have somebody there who's going to share a little bit on email marketing and staying connected, right? Staying connected with your client base. So it's good opportunity for anybody who wants to invest, anybody who's a contractor or a realtor, right? Who maybe wants to, Okay. All right, dear. I'm so excited that you're doing this with me. So I'm happy. I know we got to go because it's 11:35. You got to get out the door. So we got to keep a timely schedule. But we'll go live again next week at 11 o'clock. So people can start expecting us, right, every Tuesday at 11. Does that work for you? Okay. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Woo-woo!
All right.
Okay. All right. Thanks, GR.
Yep. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Okay, you guys. So I actually always like to start every heart-to-heart chat or heart-to-heart conversation asking you to drop in the comments something that you're thankful for. But since it took us like 15 minutes to really, from the time I woke up this morning to the time I hopped on this StreamYard, I'm like, anything that could go wrong actually did go wrong. I had contractors who were 30 minutes late. I had to go do like this run that I didn't have on my schedule to do. And then it took us like 15 minutes to get on StreamYard. So I thought, wow, this must be good information that we're supposed to be sharing. But that was GR Myers. He's my broker. I'm excited to share him with you because he does have a wealth of wisdom, and he does have a power of influence that I don't think he realizes. But for those of you guys who know him and who have been impacted by the wisdom he has shared with you, you know what I'm talking about, right? And you can testify to that. But for people, even if you are in a different state and you're thinking about real estate investing, the things that we're going to share every Tuesday is going to be information that you can use. What we really hope, I really have a desire this year to bring clarity and understanding into the online space for anybody who does want to invest, right? So we'll share general conversation. However, you're going to want to learn how to make it specific to your situation, right? And so, so I'm super, super excited, you guys. And for those of you who are in the group, what group? Hold on a second. So we have a group. I have a group for investors. It's called Financial Coaching for Realtors and Investors. So for those of you guys who are in that group, I'm going to hop on at 1 o'clock to do, and actually I might even hop on now, but I'm hopping on sometime between now and 1 o'clock to answer the question that was posed in the group about short sales. Okay. And so that's where you guys would want to drop the questions. But if you're not in that group and you're interested in real estate investing, it doesn't matter if you're local or not local, you're welcome to join that group. But I'm going to hop on there. I'm going to hop on there today to answer the question that was put in the group about short sales. Okay, you guys, blessings in God's favor. So I'm super, super excited to do this. I'm also doing a course. So you guys will be hearing a little bit about that. But it's really going from $0 to $100,000 a year passive income and what that looks like. Now, the thing is, not everybody's starting at zero. You think you are. The parable of the talents is like one of my favorite things to talk about, one of my favorite scriptures to talk about when it comes to investing and increasing wealth and taking money specifically for growing money and building wealth, right? So that's what the course is going to be about. But I'm really, really excited about it because I really do desire to bring clarity and understanding so that if you have it on your heart and mind to build a rental portfolio for your family and for your household, we want you to know that you can do it, and we want to put you in environments with others who are doing it so that, monkey see, monkey do, monkey see, monkey be. And that's what I have found with people who've been investing at a young age. They invest at a young age. And that's what you can do for your children and your grandchildren. You can get them into the room, So at these sessions, I told my daughter, hey, I want my 12-year-old grandson there because I want him to, even if he doesn't want to, listening and hearing. And he actually does want to. So, okay, you guys, blessings in God's favor. As always, from my heart to yours, may God bless your efforts to be physically and financially healthy and strong. I always want to end every live that I do reminding you that you're the one, right? You're meant to be the one. That thing that God has placed on your heart and mind to do, it's on your heart and mind to do because you're meant to be the one to do that. I actually have a funny story. I haven't shared this, but there is a thing that I have on my heart and mind to do. And I say, oh, I wish this could be done in our community. And it dawned on me last week, oh, maybe I'm the one who's meant to do it, right? So whatever it is God's placing on your heart and mind to do, you have to do the work. Ask yourself, why not me? Why not now? How do I get to that place where I'm doing the thing that I know I'm meant to do? But you're the one. You're meant to be the one. All right, love you guys. Mwah.